How would an Italian pronounce it? If you can nail this exercise, you can be sure that your Italian pronunciation will skyrocket, because that means that your brain is already thinking Italian. I know that you're spending a lot of time immersing yourself in the Italian language. I gave you some directions where to go. The introduction was all about immersion. That's the only way you're going to become good in Italian, is that you watch a lot of content in Italian. And I'm here to help you understand the difficult stuff, right? So that you don't have to compute it in your head while you're trying also to understand the words that they're saying. And I know that you spent some time also learning vocabulary and words, adjectives, and things like that. Potentially you started saying things and making up sentences. And so we have covered Italian pronunciation. We've done the basics of the vowels, a, e, I, o, u, and then the important lesson on how each consonant sounds like and which ones are a little tricky, like S and Z, C and G, they're a little tricky in spelling, but in terms of sound, it's not that difficult. There's a few tricky ones. Like I told you that L is a little different from English. R is a little bit of a monster because we trill it sometimes, like R, and maybe you cannot do that. And then we looked at the most important drill as a beginner, which is the taking a consonant, matching it up with a vowel, and make sure that you can pronounce clearly and openly every combination. So ba, be, bi, bo, bu, da, de, di, do, do, ka, ke, ki, ko, ku, cha, che, chi, cho, chu. I feel very stupid when I do this, but it's helpful. So I know that if you read Italian words, you'd be able to pronounce them. But I know that it takes months or years before your English thinking brain can look at words in Italian and really always pronounce them the Italian way. And there's a way to trick your brain into becoming better at that. And there's a way to trick your brain into becoming better at that. Because what happens when we look at a foreign language, like me as an Italian looking at any other language that has the same alphabet, obviously, or you as an English speaker looking at Italian or Spanish, you will have an instinct that your brain will assume that that word should be read the way you would read it as an English speaker, because you spent 20, 30, 50, 60, 70 years reading English words, right? I'm going to teach you, I'm going to ask you to make the effort to read all the words that you see around you in your everyday life when you are in Italian learning mode, and read them as if they were Italian. Now, I'm assuming that you're in an English-speaking country, so there's not a lot of Italian around you. But here's an exercise that you can do anywhere you go, because you will see text in English and you will not read it as if it was an English word, but pretend that it's an Italian word. It's very difficult. So you see this word, how would an Italian pronounce it? If you can nail this exercise, you can be sure that your Italian pronunciation will skyrocket, because that means that your brain is already thinking Italian. So let's have a look. So that's a restaurant in English, but even the beginning is different. I say restaurant, like I went to restaurant, like it's not even that. What's it? How would an Italian say it? Restaurant. Restaurant. Now the stress could be anywhere, because that's not an Italian word. So restaurant, whichever way you want for the stress, but it's the sound of the words. Resta, u. So in English, the A and U are one sound, but in Italian there are two sounds, and you want to make sure that you pronounce them as two sounds. And that re, very different from the English version of that. So how about this one? Now that you know restaurant, how would you say this one? Careful, because there's two O. How would two O sound in Italian? Well, they would sound like two O. So restrom, restrom. If it was one, restrom, but there's two, so restroms. Sorry, I forgot, yes, restroms. It's difficult, but can you see how if you can do that and sound good, you are unlocking your Italian brain. How about this one? Elevator, elevator, elevator. Now, I feel obligated to also tell you the Italian words for this, because I know that you're learning Italian elsewhere, and I'm only here for the grammar, but I still want to give you Italian words, right? So, ristorante, restroom is just bagni, the bathrooms, basically. And elevator is ascensore, ascensore. Actually, all words that have come up in the past in previous lessons. How about this one? Your brain wants to say, I'm not going to say, but your brain wants to say something, but what is that word in Italian? Sale. Sale. Now, the actual word sale exists in Italian, it means salt. Sale. If you want to know, the Italian word for sale is sconti. Sconti. But you would read that word sale. Let's do another one. I got a few more, but it's a fun exercise because you can do it anytime you're driving, anytime you're around, anything you see, you can read it as if it was Italian. I love this exercise. I do it for my languages. Discount. 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 Did you get this one right? If not, try the next one. Oh, tough one. Tough one. Do you remember how the C consonant sounds before an E? It sounds ch. So, ice. That first word is ice, and the second word is cream. Ice cream. Ice cream. The word for discount is sconto. So before I said sconti for sale, and sconto is a single discount. And the word for ice cream is gelato, but you probably know this one. But ice cream is how I would read that word if it was Italian. That's how my mom, who knows no English, not even thank you, that's how my mom would read that word if she had to read it. Ice cream. This one is a nightmare because we are faced with the fact that Italian doesn't have a H. We have a H, but we don't pronounce it. So give it a go. You could do the Italian way and just skip the first H because it's silent in Italian. Or Italians know that English words have like an aspirated H, so we would know how to say hig like that. But let's pretend that it's not there because if it was an Italian word, we wouldn't pronounce it. So ig vai. Ig vai. Ig, because ing sounds ig, H is silent, and then W sounds V because we call it W. So it's a V sound for us. So hig vai. And Y sounds like E because that's what it sounds like, in Italian. And we're done. A little bit of a crazy exercise. If you want to do more exercise, come and join us at Easily Made Easy platform because we have a ton of practice and activities for you. Otherwise, I'll see you tomorrow. Ciao, ciao.